President, pleasure to be with you. To the elected officials who are with us first, the Lieutenant Governor, who as President Murray mentioned, he has been single-handedly the engine behind these regional economic development councils all across the state. He's been a fantastic Lieutenant Governor. Bob Dubby. My colleague in Albany, Senator John Bonasek, pleasure to be with you, John. County Executive Mike Hine, County Executive Marcus Molinaro, pleasure to be with you. Mayor Shane Gallo, I passed T.R. Gallo Park on the way in, and I want you to know that your brother was a fine public official, fine gentleman. I was quite fond of him myself when I was at HUD. We worked together. I worked with him here in the city. My thoughts, my prayers, and congratulations to you, and we're proud of the good work you're doing. Mayor Gallo. We have the cabinet who is here today, who is frankly more important than the Lieutenant Governor or I am today. Forget us. Be nice to the strategic assessment team, because they're going to be making the decision going forward, and that will make the decision on funding. So they've been introduced, but give them another round of applause. A special welcome to State Police Major Steve Nevins, who's head of my detail and is a great, great public servant, and the Kingston man. So a pleasure to be with him. And Len Schleifer. Now Len makes 2 points. First, Len, who's been great for us on the Regional Economic Development Council, he's running a fantastic business, as you can tell, and he's taken the obligation of being the co-chair of the Regional Economic Development Council. And is a great, great business success, saving lives, literally, creating jobs. And it shows how important state investment, state partnership is with business. Former Governor Cuomo, Mario Cuomo, invested in Regeneron, $250,000. Regeneron stayed. They went on to create thousands of jobs. Millionaires. We're happy to, you're going to give me the list of the names. Created wealth, did great, and stimulated, incentivized by a government investment. And that's much of what we're talking about here today. So Len's first lesson is this works, right? And this can reap dividends. And Len and Regeneron are the proof that 20 years later, the government investment is still paying dividends. The second lesson from what Len is saying is Cuomo's never forget. They never forget. Mario Cuomo was there for Len 20 years ago. I call Len and collect 20 years later. Plus interest 20 years later. You know what they say about payback? It's a joy. That's what it is. It's a joy. And it's your joy to serve on the regional economic. Give Len and his joy. There are 2 parts to today. Part is reviewing the investments, the activities from the grants that we made last year. The second activity is the presentation of the application for future funding. And we're going to accomplish both to get today. Just to recap what the macro message on today is about. When we took over, when my team took over about 20 months ago, we said the #1 priority was creating jobs, just as President Murray said. Best single thing the state government can do for this state is generate the economy, generate the jobs. If you're generating jobs and you're growing businesses, everything else will take care of itself. Local governments will have a tax base, individuals will have a sense of dignity, the state will have revenue where we can do the other things that we need to do, and we can provide services that we need to provide, etc. But you need the economy running. What do you need to get the economy running in New York? We had to work on 2 levels. First, the state had to get its own house in order, because the state government was not working. Period. There's no nice way to say it. It was just not working. The word was dysfunctional, but it wasn't operating. They weren't passing budgets, they weren't passing laws on time, they weren't being, and asset and an assistance to the business community in New York. So we said, first, we're going to get the state's house in order. And I think we have done that. Passed 2 balanced budgets, and we passed them on time. We have a different culture, a different attitude towards business. These regional councils are reaching out all across the state and partnering with business. We reduced taxes. So the middle class in New York, middle class defined as $30,000 to $300,000 in income, pay the lowest tax rate in 58 years this year. Just think about it. So the first order of business was for the state government to function, and we're doing that. The second level of economic activity had to happen on the regional level. Why? Because there is no one New York State economy. All these years we said that Albany will come up with an economic development program and will stimulate the economy. It can't. There is no New York economy, except to the extent there's an aggregation of regional economies. But we have different regions in this state, and they are much, much different. We are not what they call a vanilla state. We're not homogeneous. We're not the same all across. We're not just one region. We're 10 different regions. Western New York is a region unto itself. The North Country, the Adirondacks, where we were yesterday, beautiful, but a region unto itself. Long Island, different still. And the Hudson Valley, different still. So if you really want to stimulate the economy, you have to stimulate those regional economies. Well, how is Albany going to do it? It's not. You can't do it from Albany. Because literally you need that region in and of itself to come together, to organize, to figure out their plan, to be vested in their plan, and go forward. Albany can help invest. Albany can stimulate. Albany can know enough to get out of the way. But it has to be up to the region. So, hence the Regional Economic Development Councils. As a region, focus and create one economic vision. Remember that a region requires cohesiveness, so everybody work together. It has to be bottom up, it has to be vested, it has to leverage private sector jobs, and there'll be a competition to decide who wins. Well, why a competition? Why not just give the regions the money? Competition because people like to win. Competition because people don't like to lose. Competition because what we're asking, while seemingly very simple, is actually very hard to do. The entire region has to come together. The mayors and the county executives have to work as one. Very simply said. Happens to defy everything we've done and everything we are, but it's very simply said. You have to get past those boundaries. There are no county lines when it comes to an economy. There's one region. And this belief in a county line or a town line or a city line, it's gone. They were arbitrary lines on a map. Figure out that you have to come together and you're all going to rise or you're all going to fall. But that's very hard to do. Competition, if you do it, great, you win. If you don't do it, you lose, you get nothing. It's a great incentive system, and it has been great. I'm very excited about what's happening here in the Hudson River Valley. First, you have every asset imaginable. I mean, I love this map, done by the Marist College, which happens to have Marist right in the middle of it, by the way. With all due respect, I love this painting even more. And listening to the president in his discussion of the region and the history and the beauty, everything you could possibly have, you have in this region. I mean, literally, it is a region that inspired schools of landscape artists, right? And painters for years. You have history. You have every imaginable economic activity from agriculture to biotech to high tech. It's all here. I don't believe we have worked as well as we need to in forming a cohesive region I don't believe the cooperation historically has been as good as it can be, because this really is one region. And it really is magnificent. Now with my cabinet, I just had a new idea sitting here, which always makes them nervous when I have a new idea. We take them all over the state. I know how beautiful this is because I like to do a little boating, and I've gone up and down the Hudson a number of times, and I've been up and down the creek a number of times. And we go on trips, cabinet and we're in the Adirondacks a couple of weeks ago, canoeing on one of the great new places that we brought into the public arena with an acquisition. And the Adirondacks, for those of you who haven't been there, really are truly magnificent. You just get on the Hudson River and just head north and just keep going, and you come to a little pond called Tier of the Clouds, and that's where the Hudson starts, and then you know you're in the Adirondacks. So that was a great field trip. Here's another one. We're going to take a boat from Albany to Manhattan. And it is the best way to see the region, I believe, is from the river.
On the sloop Clearwater.
On the sloop Clearwater. Maybe part of the way on the sloop Clearwater. Because there are other regions in the state that we have to get to eventually. But it really is a magnificent trip, and it's a trip I promise you that we're going to do. So I'm excited about the potential here. It is working. It's working all across the state. You're feeling new energy. People are believing. Businesses are coming. It's not going to happen overnight because we dug ourselves a deep hole, and we don't exactly have the national economy running with us right now, but all the arrows are pointed in the right direction. And you have every asset here imaginable to make this state not only as good as it was, we're going to make this state better than it has ever been. Thank you, guys.